Good morning, I'm Kevin Price. Delighted to be with you. Going to spend some time talking to you about you and your business. And I'm really excited about our guest. She's been on the program before, done a great job. She has a phenomenal story. Dr. Carol Swain, and professor of political science and author, and just a great guest. And we're always delighted to have you on the program. And you come, as a black woman who come from very challenging circumstances, really raised in abject poverty. I find that your story today to be a fascinating one, to where today you are a very conservative activist, and how that experience of growing up in poverty in the South actually led to that. Talk a little bit about that before we talk about our topic today, which is going to be Donald Trump.
I mean, like most black people in America, my parents were Democrats, and for me, it took a Christian conversion experience late in life, while I was in my 40s, to cause me to sort of rethink my worldview. It changed my worldview, and then gradually I became more and more conservative. But even before that, there were some issues that I could see through, such as some of the harmful effects that public policies were having on the American public, and especially African Americans. So there were some things I could always see, but I clearly became more conservative after I became a devout Christian.
Yeah. Yeah, and but you were already seeing the devastating effects, for example, of the welfare state, and what kind of impact.
Yes, I worked while I was in college, and I usually don't tell this because most people wouldn't believe it, but as an undergraduate at Roanoke College, I worked 40 hours a week at the community college library, nights and weekends. I had a full-time job, nights and weekends, and when I resigned to go to graduate school, they hired two people to replace me. They dissolved my position, which had been created for me, and hired two people.
Wow. It's an amazing story. Donald Trump has really caught on. I, for one, am not a Donald Trump fan. I need to preface with that. But I am a fan of his to certain aspects of his approach. I am a fan of his candor. I am a fan of the fact that he tells things like they are. And I really think he's a reflection, that a guy who's now got 20% of support among a very, very talented on paper GOP list of candidates. He sure takes up a lot of that support. I think he's onto something, and that's the fact that he tells it like it is. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I believe that that's part of why he appeals to the American public, and another has to do with many Republicans feel like that the elites tend to pick candidates that don't reflect their values, and so they pick candidates like McCain that are more moderate. And I believe the American people are starving for someone that will tell it like it is. And with Donald Trump, some people say, oh, well, he's just a showman. Well, he may be a showman like Ronald Reagan was an actor. But at this point, I believe the American people want someone that's not running for office just for fame or to make money. If you look at Bill Clinton and Barack Obama, they were people that were elected of modest means, and, now they're multimillionaires. That's money they earned off of being a president, and they are people that there's every reason to believe, that they have been bought by big donors. That's not likely to happen with a Donald Trump, and he's made promises, at least to Christians, about how he would stand up for their religious values. We assume that Republicans would do that, but Republicans seem to be so confused as a group that it's not clear what most of them stand for at all.
Talk a little bit about Donald Trump on the social issues.
Well, I think that whatever his positions were, or at one point in time, that those are positions that may shift. And you say, well, that some people say, well, candidates shouldn't change their minds. I know that over the years, I've certainly changed my position on a number of social issues. There were some I was always conservative on. I think that what we need now is a candidate who will reflect the values and principles of the American public. And whether or not Trump, will will take a pro-life position and stand behind that pro-life position, or pro-traditional family position, or those positions that have been traditionally part of the Republican platform. That remains to be seen. We have this debate coming up on Thursday. There's every reason to believe that he's going to do well. The question is he a liar? Because we know from the last president that there's a character of politician that will say anything that he believes will get him elected, and once he's in office, he's going to show his true colors. Is that Donald Trump? We don't know.
Yeah, since 2011, he has called himself pro-life. Up until 2011, he had been pro-choice.
Well, you know something? A lot of people have shifted on the abortion issue because we have the technology now where anyone that has 2 grains of sense can't deny that that's a baby and not a clump of cells.
No question about it. Anyone who calls that anything other than a baby are intellectually dishonest. They are just like the people in Germany who wondered why it was snowing in July. And that was, as they saw the ash from the furnaces of people being burnt fall on the grass. They are just as naive. People who think it's anything but a life are just as naive as those Germans were. Your thoughts?
I agree 100%. And so I'm less worried about who Donald Trump used to be. I'm more concerned about who he will be in the future. And as far as Christians, God in the Bible has used ungodly men to help his people.
Yep.
You think about Cyrus and the role he played. And so as a Christian, God is capable of using anyone. And I would much rather have someone that says, I really don't know or I'm not there yet, than a candidate that professes to be Christian yet goes out and does things that's totally contrary to any conceptualization of Christianity that most of us know.
Talk a little bit. One of the things I have pointed out, I've written extensively about this at Huffington Post. If you put in Kevin Price, Huffington Post, you'll see a lot of articles I've written now on the Trump phenomenon. One of the things I've come to believe is that America has felt so bullied by the media and so bullied by the establishment and by the political correct crowd. It's kind of like Donald Trump is like the bully to fight that bully. And the more they bully Donald Trump, the more the people are going to support Donald Trump. It's almost like Teflon on steroids. Talk a little bit about
great.
that.
I mean, that's exactly true because it seems like the more they attack him, the higher he rises. And so if I were Republicans and I wanted to win in 2016 and my party was important to me, I would focus on Hillary and the Democratic front runners and the Democratic Party's whole agenda as opposed to just attacking Donald Trump. To me, that's just a losing position. Attack Donald Trump, you push him higher in the polls. Focus on the Democrats and the destructive policies they've had for our nation.
Talk a little bit about, with just a couple of minutes left, it would seem to me that this phenomenon isn't going to stop anytime soon. That's what, at first the media was kind of like, woohoo, look at how funny it is. Donald Trump is running, and now he's dominating. He gets over 25% of all 2016 headlines, 25% out of 16 candidates.
That Donald Trump, like a lot of those other candidates, may have just thrown their head in the race to see what would happen.
Yeah.
And so he may have been half serious when he announced, but he has every reason to be encouraged by what's happened. And so what may have started out as, let me just test the waters, may now develop a life of its own. And if he gets hungry for it, and if this is something he wants, then I think he has the influence and the favor with a lot of people that maybe he could make it happen. Now, whether America would be better off, I think we can clearly say that it would be better off than it is right now. I can't imagine anyone doing a worse job than Barack Obama has done.
Boy, you and me both. That'd be a good note to end on as well. Always enjoy having Dr. Carol Swain on the program. Her website, by the way, is Carol, Carol, Swain.net. Thanks so much, Dr. Swain.
Thank you. And I would also like to encourage people to follow me on Facebook at Professor Carol M. Swain, Twitter at Carol M. Swain.
Thank you so much, and we will. All right, when we come back, much more for you. If you want to remind you, best content here shows up over there at usaTheReview.com, and this is The Price of Business.